my most complimented fragrances to date. So this list is a little bit more on the standard side. No crazy fragrances this time, but mainly, as the title suggests, just a few simple fragrances that time and time again get compliments. And as always, all the fragrances that I mentioned will be available in the Amazon associate links down in the description below. I'm going to start with kind of the most expected one, which is Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue. You cannot go wrong with this. It is one of the most popular female fragrances on the market. It's a relatively simple fragrance. The opening is mainly citrus, green apple, just some general fruit notes. It's meant to be fresh, a little bit floral, feminine, light, breezy, all that. Very much kind of Italian, coastal, beachside, that sort of thing. But despite its simplicity, it does work really, really well. It's not super strong. It's about a 4-hour or 5-hour fragrance, but for warmer weather, especially during the summer, this is kind of the go-to option, and it always gets compliments. It's just kind of one of those fragrances that was designed to just be as well liked, as well appreciated as possible. And again, it pretty much works for almost all occasions, and really the only downside is the lower longevity, but you can always reapply it. It's a relatively affordable fragrance. And again, it's nothing crazy, but if you just want to smell good, you don't want to think about it, you don't want to spend a bunch of money, then Dolce & Gabbana Light Blue is definitely the way to go. And there are different versions of light blue. I believe some are stronger, some are weaker, some are for men, some are for women. So definitely there's lots of room for experimentation in the light blue category. But as a whole, it's just a well-liked, well-performing fragrance for women. Then, moving on from this, something that's a bit more niche, which I quite like, which is Jo Malone, Blush Peony, and Suede. This is delicious. I love this one. This is a good option for those who want something floral and a little bit sweet, but has a kind of warmer, a little bit more rugged undertone. So really you have some apple notes in here, you have the peony, obviously. And then you have the suede, which is a leather note. This is really, really nice for pretty much all occasions because it's light enough for the summer, it's warm enough for the winter, it's not too formal or too casual, it's right in the middle. And actually this is a unisex option as well. I think it's a little bit more on the feminine side, but men could also easily get away with wearing this, especially with that suede note. But because of the suede note, it adds a bit of heaviness to the lighter notes, which adds to the longevity. So this is about a 6-hour, maybe even 7-hour fragrance. Really nice. It's relatively simple as well, but more complex than light blue. I think more interesting, just because of how it blends the suede with the florals and the fruit notes. But this is just in general a really nice, more niche, more off the beaten path sort of fragrance. So definitely, again, if you're open to, a little bit of leather mixed with some florals, then this is definitely a really nice option. And it does definitely stand out from the crowd. It's definitely kind of in a realm of its own in terms of uniqueness. But moving on to one that is very refreshing. This is Iris Torréfiée from Guerlain. It's an iris fragrance. Kind of a warm iris fragrance because the name means, I think, toasted iris or something like that. But as a whole, this is probably one of the best iris fragrances because it's a little bit stronger than typical iris fragrances. A lot of floral fragrances are very weak, especially if they don't have any heavier notes to ground them. But again, this is a little bit on the stronger side. It's still not super strong. It's about maybe a 5-hour fragrance, so moderate longevity. But for this type of light fragrance, it's pretty good. and I love iris just in general. A lot of people I know also really enjoy iris. It's kind of one of the more well-liked individual floral notes besides, you know, like rose and things like that. This is very smooth, almost creamy, and it's kind of hard to describe, but it's definitely, if you're going for iris specifically, or just a similar type of floral like that, then this is definitely a very good option. There are some other similar iris fragrances out there that smell similar to this, but I think this is, you know, just a little bit above the competition. But maybe this is too light for you, maybe you want something a little bit different. Then I'm gonna go into some more classic territory with Red Door from Elizabeth Arden here. Now this is a 30-year-old fragrance for the most part. Some people aren't open to wearing older fragrances, but this never fails to get compliments, mainly because it's kind of like light blue. It was designed to be super likable, super versatile, and all that. And the bonus that this has over light blue is that it is much longer lasting. It has like 20 different florals in it, and it's gonna last like 7 to 8 hours. I don't know how they boosted the longevity like that, but it's very long lasting. And it's just, it's kind of powdery, it's very feminine, it has that kind of classic feel to it. It's sweet without being too sweet or too cloying or sugary. It's kind of more of a natural floral sweetness, which is nice. Very reminiscent of springtime because of all the florals, but it's not super cold or super warm, just smooth, kind of just overall. And again, longevity is a big bonus for this one because usually pure floral fragrances are not very strong, but this kind of breaks the mold here. And then the last one that I have, which also gets a lot of compliments, although it's a bit on the fence for some, which is Youth Dew by Estée Lauder. This is from 1953, so definitely a classic fragrance, but this is either going to get you tons of compliments or people are going to wrinkle their noses at you and leave, because it's one of those right down the middle sort of fragrances where you're either going to love it or hate it. Very strong, spicy, balsamic sort of fragrance. Youth Dew is probably one of the strongest female fragrances that is still being produced, especially in comparison to modern women's fragrances. This is just it's a bomb, basically. And I mean, it's kind of Christmassy. The main spices are kind of cloves, cinnamon, allspice, you know. It smells a little bit like gingerbread cookies sort of thing, plus a bunch of other spices, musk, amber notes, some florals. This is gonna last like 8 to 9 hours, or even longer, but it does dry down into a nice musky powderiness, which gives a nice classic feminine smell. But that is pretty much my list here of fragrances that get the most compliments, at least so far. The most reliable fragrances, I think. But that is pretty much my video. If you enjoyed it, of course, you can always leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I make videos like this throughout the week, so stick around for those.